Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into a powerful idea that might just explain why so many of us feel completely and utterly drained in this digital age. It's called techno-feudalism.
So let's start with a feeling that's become, well, pretty much unavoidable. Something that a lot of us are wrestling with every single day. Have you ever just stopped and wondered if the exhaustion you feel is different? Maybe a bit heavier than the kind our parents or grandparents used to talk about? It's not just about working long hours. It feels like a deeper, more constant kind of weariness.
The difference is just stark when you lay it out. In the past, work had boundaries. You clocked in, you clocked out, you went home, and that part of your brain could switch off. But today, it feels like we never, ever truly clock out. Our jobs just bleed into every corner of our lives, and that off switch has pretty much disappeared.
But here's the real kicker. It's not just our main jobs. Think about it for a second. Curating that perfect Instagram feed, writing a Yelp review, making a quick video for TikTok, all these things we do in our leisure time, they've started to feel like another job. Because, in a very real way, they are.
So that raises a really important question. If we're always working, even when we think we're not, who are we actually working for? And the answer to that leads us to this kind of startling new concept that might just reframe our entire digital lives.
Just think about your own day. Every single time you post a photo, share an article, or tweet some random thought that pops into your head, you are performing unpaid labor. You are literally generating the content and the data that makes these tech platforms so incredibly valuable. We're talking billions, even trillions of dollars in value. And we're doing it all for free.
The economist Yanis Varoufakis actually gave this new system a name, techno-feudalism. And his argument is that this isn't just capitalism on steroids. No, it's something fundamentally different, a whole new economic system that, weirdly enough, looks a lot like something from the distant past.
Okay, so to really get our heads around this, the analogy to the old feudal system is absolutely key. Let's break down exactly how it maps onto our world today. The parallels here are kind of shocking. Back in the feudal era, you had a lord who owned all the land. Today, you have a platform owner, like a Zuckerberg or Musk, who owns the digital space. That land, or fiefdom, is now the platform itself, Facebook, X, you name it. And the serfs? Well, just as they worked the land to grow crops for the lord, we, the users, work on these platforms to produce the new crop, our content and our data. Varoufakis actually breaks this down into 3 new classes. Right at the very top, you've got the cloud capitalists, the new lords who own the digital land. Just below them are the vassal capitalists. Think of any business that has to sell its stuff on Amazon or advertise on Google to even exist. And then at the bottom, there's the massive population of cloud serfs. Yep, that's us, powering this whole pyramid from the ground up. Now, this isn't just some interesting theory to debate. This system has huge, tangible consequences for our economy, for our society, and for our own well-being.
So here's the crucial economic shift. Old-school capitalism was all about competing in a market to make a profit. Techno-feudalism is about owning the market itself and then charging everyone else rent to access it. The tech lords don't just have a store in the mall. They own the entire mall and charge every other store for the privilege of being there. Apple's App Store is a perfect example. For most sales, Apple takes a flat 30% cut. That's not a profit they earned by outcompeting anyone. It's a digital rent they charge just for access to their digital territory. And this system has 2 really devastating consequences. First, economically, all this cloud rent pulls enormous amounts of money out of the real economy and parks it in the accounts of a tiny number of people, which can slow everything else down. But second, and this might be even more dangerous, is the social cost. To keep us glued to our screens and working, the algorithms are literally designed to push the most emotionally charged, divisive, and outrageous content at us, because outrage drives engagement. As Varoufakis himself puts it, a society that runs on algorithm-driven rage is not one where people can easily find common ground. Hatred literally becomes the fuel for the machine, and not just eats away at the foundations of a functioning democracy.
Okay, so that all sounds pretty bleak, I know. But just identifying the problem isn't the end of the story. Varoufakis also puts forward some pretty bold ideas for how we might start to push back.
He suggests things like a cloud tax, a small percentage taken from every single transaction inside these digital kingdoms. He also talks about creating digital identities that are backed by the state, so that your online self isn't literally the property of a corporation. And get this, imagine if we could switch social networks and take all of our friends and followers with us, just like you can keep your phone number when you switch cell carriers. That alone would completely break the power of these digital monopolies.
Now, these are massive challenges, for sure. There are no easy answers. But they force all of us to ask a really fundamental question. As we live more and more of our lives in this digital space, who are we? Are we citizens of a democracy with rights and a voice? Or are we just becoming subjects in someone else's corporate kingdom? It's definitely something to think about.